So what are we talking about today?
Well, I got to start off the way we usually do, right? You mean Sick Jake likes 5 games that he doesn't dump all over? Today on...
I already did it, so I'll just push it ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear anything.
I figured you were too busy talking.
I got earplugs now. There's no mouth sounds. What? That's not a meme anymore. That's so 2020.
It's less mouth sounds. It's more like sinus sounds, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe
Either way, it's bad. Get this moistness off our podcasts.
moistness.
We need that dry wit. That's what we need to do.
Wit? We have wit?
Take this British.
Okay.
We try to. All right, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Press B to Cancel. Today we're going to talk about my favorite games. My top 5 favorite games ever. But I mean...
Warframe?
Yeah, right, really. There was a period for 6 months where Warframe would have probably made that top 5. And that's the thing. It's not like I ascended the Salt Mountain and came down with 2 tablets of crystal and etched in them were 5 games I love immortally. No, it changes, right? I think even you said that, Palsh, where top 5 kind of changes over time. And that's totally true.
It's definitely... Well, I think it's just for the fact that I'm like, I love this game. Then I love this game. I love that game. And then by the end of it, I'm just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I fucking love that game.
And ultimately, that's how Blizzard makes their money.
Yeah.
Don't you love World of Warcraft?
It's all right.
So the way I was kind of hoping is that at some point everybody would do their top 5, and then it's never fun to do it alone. It's good to have somebody bounce it off of, whether you like it or disagree or hate all my choices. That's totally fair.
Look, I'm always going to disagree with you just because we just have to have that. All right, it's kind of like north and south magnets and oh wait, no, those attract. We're both in the north, so we have to repel each other. We have to. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm going with.
Well, I'm just going to say, I can't be the asshole every episode. I need somebody to step in, be number 2.
Ready. Let's do this.
And just dump all over my games. You get it? Number 2, dump.
Wow.
Anybody?
Wow.
See, that's that dry wit I'm talking about. Forget that moistness. No, nothing's wet here.
There's nothing about the moist. Let's do this. Let's keep this dry.
So Sick Jake's top 5 ever, at least for now. Number 5. So I am a child of the 80s, actually. I actually just turned 40, which is a huge milestone. And to celebrate that milestone, I like to spend some time with my kids and force them to watch all the shitty movies I did as a kid. Every last one of them. From Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren to, I don't know, Running Man. That was a good one, although I had to cover their eyes during the violent parts.
Masters of the Universe is not a bad movie. It's just a bad He-Man movie, okay? But anyways, let's keep going.
There's more than one?
No, I just mean like it's a good action movie. It was a good like fantasy movie. Just pretend it's not He-Man and you're all right.
Okay. Well, no, I know we talked about doing movie podcast episodes, and we should do more because that's a movie I would talk about. I love that movie too, even if it is bad. And you're right, he's not a good He-Man, but Dolph Lundgren is a good action hero in anything he does.
Look, I mean, he's jacked, but nobody's jacked to the point of like He-Man. Especially back in the 80s, like even Arnie was not that big. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, and Conan? I feel like they're close. Anyway, you know who's not jacked? Fred Savage. It's the opposite of jacked. And he starred in a movie in the 80s, and this is where I'm I promise this is games related. It's coming back.
Okay.
Fred Savage was in a movie in the 80s called The Wizard. I don't know if you've seen that one before.
Oh yeah. We've discussed it briefly on here before once too, and I remember that.
Yeah. And it's a glorified commercial for Nintendo, for sure. Like, absolutely for sure.
Oh yeah.
Right? Where it's like Fred Savage and his brother basically end up traveling to California and get roped into a video game tournament to make some money.
Which is just the greatest premise for any movie as a kid in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the dream for any child. Get to travel across country, no parents, playing video games. Why not? So his kid plays all these different games, and they're all Nintendo related.
I mean, Nintendo sucks. Fuck you. I forgot I'm supposed to be the antithesis to everything you're saying here. So okay.
I mean, there's no Genesis back in the NES era, so there's no argument. Nintendo was king of video games back then.
Sure. Okay.
There were no Atari, but anyway, yeah. So one of the games that is highlighted at near the end of the Wizard is the grand finale. Jimmy's up on stage, not our Jimmy, different Jimmy, although he does wear a hat. And then the smoke clears from the stage, and down comes this stage just comes up, and on this big screen is Super Mario Brothers 3. This is like the debut of that game in North America. Or maybe it's not. Maybe there's a commercial before, I don't know. But as a kid, seeing this movie and seeing that there's actually a Mario Brothers 3 now, that's pretty awe-inspiring.
Yeah, that's genius marketing right there.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. So my number 5 is Mario Brothers 3. No small part is because of the Wizard and just the hype around it. There's that commercial. Everybody may not know now, but if you look it up on YouTube, it's just Mario. It zooms out and just everybody around the world in color t-shirts comes together. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. No, Mario is the true fatality on your parents' wallet.
Yeah, okay, that's fair too.
But Super Mario Brothers 3 is like the king of Mario games for me. I know a lot of people love Mario World, and that's fine. It's probably more refined. But Mario 3 had everything, and it was just so much after the original Mario Brother game. You had so many power-ups, and just weird ones, right? Like Hammer Brothers, Mario, throwing hammers.
That was just satisfying anyways, for the fact that it's like, I'm gonna get revenge on these assholes.
Well, there's that, and there's like a Tanuki Mario, where you can turn to a stone statue. Don't know what Tanuki is at the time, but still pretty cool.
Is there a different... Wait, okay, I got a question for you now, because I was about to mention the Tanuki. Is that the same one that gives you, like, the unlimited flying? Or is that a different one?
There's a P-Wing that gives you unlimited flying.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know if Tanuki gives you unlimited flying, too. I just remember that you're in the full furry suit, and you turn to stone.
Sweet.
And it's just really cool. And there's only like 2 of them in the entire game. Like, that's the thing. It's a game that had so many different power-ups. But the Hammer Brothers Mario one, I think there's only 1 in the entire game. Like, who does that? Who makes a game with all these power-ups and they're so rare?
But at the same time, you're just like, this makes you appreciate it. So it's like, oh, I'm like, crack the knuckles, jump right in.
Well, you're like really save some of those power-ups. Like, you get the P-Wing, which, like you said, gives unlimited flying. And I used to always use it in the same spot. There's the Desert World. Sorry, which one?
I was going to say anything with an auto-scroller. Boom.
Well, but there's also the desert level with the sun. I hate that motherfucker.
Yeah, and you fly over him?
Yeah, you just fly through the entire stage. That's one stage where I'll skip it. That's a trick I taught my kids. Don't deal with the sunshine. Just fly above it.
Right. That's what we've learned over the years in Canada. When you actually see the sun, shit's about to go down.
Yeah, when you see daylight, run away.
Yeah.
We don't need that up here in Canada.
It works out well for us being hermits and video game, like, aficionados. Self-proclaimed, of course.
We stay in the basement in our natural environments.
Yeah. It's our own basement now. It's not mom's. God damn it.
It's a step up in the world. But it's great. This game is fantastic. I mean, everybody's played Mario Brothers 3, so I don't need to go on forever on this, but there's so much variety in stages, right? And we take for granted in later Mario games how there's the themed worlds. But Mario 3 had all that. Ice World, Plant World. The one I liked the most is the one where it was big and small, right? Where some levels had the giant Goombas and Koopas. I thought that was amazing as a kid on Mario 3.
Was that Monster Island or something, or Big World or something? Whatever it was called, that was definitely my favorite, because there's nothing more satisfying than jumping on a Goomba that's like 17 times the size of you.
I can't remember the name of it. It had a weird Japanese-inspired name, but it was really cool. And that just shows you such a wide variety in graphics and themes and levels. They've really pushed the Nintendo to the absolute limit in terms of what they're trying to do. Multiple power-ups, tons of levels, mini games, multiple bosses, sprites up the nose. Like, it's getting crazy how much they had in Mario Bros. 3. Truly amazing for me as a sequel.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that, because it's solid logic. It's really fun. I'm like, if someone makes me play Mario 3, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be like, cool, okay, let's do this. And then try to find the double warp whistles and try to get ahead of everybody else. Yeah,
well, that's another thing. The secrets in that game is amazing. The warp whistles is great. There's all kinds of... there's the Go ship, which I didn't even know about until I was an adult.
One that I remember the most is like ducking for an extended period of time on like a white block. I think
Yes.
it always worked on a white block only or something.
Yeah, there's only a handful of white blocks in the game. So once you knew though, you needed to look for it, and that's how you get the whistle, right? That's
Right.
great. Yeah, that game is insane. And you look at it went from Mario Brothers 1 to this, right? It couldn't be a more drastic change in a sequel.
But there was a Mario Brothers too, wasn't there?
But a Doki Doki 2? Nah. Go back to episode, was it 3?
Yes, we discussed this in detail. Check out our backlog at pressbtocancel.com/ oh shit, I don't know.
I don't know the slash, but it's on pressbtocancel.com. 100 and something odd years of retro gaming experience. Available wherever you like your favorite shows. Yada yada.
Yeah, we got to do our math again because it's another year gone by. So that's like another 4 years that we've got added to the tally.
They gotta update it everywhere.
Yeah.
Add to the list.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mario Brothers 3, my number 5. I think it's an amazing game, and it's definitely my top 5, and it's one that does not move around from that list.
That's a solid number 5. I'd even give it a solid number 2.
Funny. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. You're not the only one who can make dry poop jokes.
There's never so many dry poop jokes. We don't need no moistness. That's a whole other medical problem. All right. So I realized, look at my list now, it's less consoles than I expected. There's a lot of PC on here. And this next one, number 4, is a PC
Warframe.
game. No, it's not Warframe. Look, I like Warframe.
I'm trying to bring it back, okay?
Warframe and I are on a break right now. They're a Canadian company. I want to support Canadian companies, but it's a bit trashy right now. Just now. Normally it's great. No Warframe. Anyway, but it is a first-person shooter, kind of. And much like Warframe, it has like RPG mechanics behind it. And it's Deus Ex, a game I tried getting you to play, and I think you bounced hard off it.
I bounced hard off of it, but I'll tell you why but after you try to sell me on this. So tell me. Sell me, boy.
So Deus Ex, there's so many reasons why I love this game. Graphically, using the original Unreal Engine, it's a cut above shooters from that era. Really takes advantage of everything that engine has to offer. Huge maps, loads of enemies, and just the map design itself. They really kind of came at the angle of, you're JC Denton, this nano-augmented agent. Do you want to be stealthy? Then you can go through the air ducts. Do you want to be first-person shooter, Rambo style? You can do that too and bust down a door. You like reading people's emails like a pervert? Well, sure, you can hack computers too. They had multiple play styles and skills you unlocked in your character to let you do basically play how you want. And this is like I don't know if there's a game that's quite like this that started this genre, but there are games now, even today, like Cyberpunk, for example, that copy or are influenced by the original Deus Ex. And just, I don't know about you, but I used to work night shift years ago, and I used to listen to late night talk radio, Coast to Coast AM, with, what's his name? George Norrie, I think it was. And it was all about conspiracy theories, aliens and anal probings and government crackdowns. And I don't believe any of that shit. But I used to listen to it at midnight at 3 a.m.
Look, you had me at anal probes, okay?
Yeah, well, no anal probes. I don't need those. It's not dry enough. But anyway, but I used to love listening to the radio. It's always entertaining anyway. And Deus Ex is all about conspiracy theories, from, the Men in Black to the Majestic 12, this unraveling this plot of, corrupt corporations and a cure to a man-made plague and all this stuff. It's fantastically done. And just the atmosphere, the story and plot, the all dialogue is voiced, right? Everything in the game. And this is an early PC title for the most part. I'm trying to remember when it came out. I want to say 90s. I could be wrong.
Oh, no, keep going. I'll check my Mind Palace.
It was one of the first PC games I played with nice graphics, is what I want to say. I can't remember what computer I had back then, but I just got a new video card. And in part, it was so I could play Deus Ex, because I had bought it and I couldn't run it.
Was it a Voodoo 2?
No. It was an NVIDIA card, I want to say. It's one of the earlier ones, though. But it looks amazing. The game looks great. Even today, there's, even without the mod packs, there is mod packs that upgrade the graphics. But I want to say there's reflections and whatnot back then. So, I mean, it was obviously early Unreal, so it was blocky.
Right.
Graphics and polygons. But it looks good, and I think it still holds up today. And I love playing this game every few years. I always go back to it, and I love Deus Ex.
My Mind Palace tells me it's 2000, by the way.
Literally 2000. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, Jesus, 21 years ago.
Yeah. And that's a good year for it, too, because, like, we were entering the future then, a whole new millennium. So I think that's a very good time for that game to come out.
Well, the whole worry of the Y2K bug possibly bringing down the internets. Yeah. it's good.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I liked it because of the RPG stuff and the stealth elements, but I think you didn't like that kind of stuff?
Okay. Well, the first thing I started off playing, instead of going into the game, there's a tutorial that you have, and it says, do the tutorial first. Okay. And because I don't have a manual, this is an old game, it's an old 3D game. This is when you have more than just left, right, B to shoot, jump is A. I started playing through it, and I got stuck in the tutorial to a point where you have to be stealthy and get past like 3 guards in this. I think it was like a figure 8 shaped room or something.
Okay.
Anyways, I tried it 4 times, and every time I did it, the alarm would go off, and I'm like, I just want to kill the guards and fuck off.
Okay.
And I got really pissed off with it because, like you said, it's an early PC game for 3D. It's not as intuitive as the modern stuff is now. So, I'm used to playing things with WASD. Everything is within a couple of keystrokes. And this one is, I remember the jokes making fun of it with the boys over in Tadpog and talking about how, let's use left parentheses to, look up and right parentheses to look down. And it got really confusing. And it's the first time I remember playing a game on PC that had like the F keys as part of the control scheme. And I was like, I don't want to rebind this because then I'm sure I'm going to screw myself up even more. So I was like, I'm going to power through it. And then by the time we get to that stealth thing, nah, man, nah. I was like, okay, no, this is enough. Getting a headache. I'm gonna, and just shut it off. But everything you told me about it just now makes me want to give it a try again, and especially if I can go full on Rambo mode, because not that I'm afraid of the stealth, I'm just afraid of the stealth in this, and all the things that you've mentioned before with the conspiracy theories and all this stuff going on. I want to check it out because that sounds entertaining as hell.
Yeah, the last time I played it, I kind of the opening mission. Fuck the tutorial. You're right. Tutorials in these kind of games sucks because it forces you to do stealth when you don't want to. And I like doing stealth in Deus Ex, but you hit a point almost always where stealth goes wrong, and that's the fun part, right? You spend half the mission sneaking around, then you make a mistake and you screw up and somebody sees you, and you have to fight your way through the rest of the mission. I like that. I used to like that in GoldenEye as well.
Oh yeah. And that's I think that's what I was expecting more, was like it for it to play just like GoldenEye, because it kind of had that same aesthetic to it for me, and I'm just like, well, not aesthetic, but like just I guess the same era, yeah, roughly. So I was like, oh yeah. This I could no.
Well, I mean, the last time I played, I got stuck in the first mission. It was dark. I couldn't see a damn thing. I forgot that if you press F something, it turns on your flashlight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of game.
Yeah, and so there was so much to remember in the beginning, and I'm like, okay, this is very simple. This is very basic. This is how to use proximity mine. This is how to do this, do that. No. When it came to like jumping over a pipe and then climbing under the next one and stuff like that, that took way longer than I expected it. So yeah, dude, you got to work for it.
Yeah, if you do play it again, forget the tutorial, just dive into the game and do the best you can. And then I like stealth, but you don't need to. You can kind of do it's best played with a mix of different things. But I think for the story alone, the game is worth playing.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to get into, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 according to my Mind Palace, and when you have that many entries into a series, you get to develop a lot of lore behind it and a lot of context and a lot of references to each other that I really want to check out.
Is there that many? No.
Deus Ex Invisible War, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Mankind Divided.
That's still there. I had 2 more to go besides that.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's Human Revolution, The Missing Link, The Fall, Go, and Divided. I'm guessing Go is like a mobile one, maybe?
Yeah, Go is the there's a bunch of those. The Hitman Go, Lorecroft Go. It's a puzzle style game. It's good actually. for what it is.
You just named it. Actually, they're all made by. They were said people also search for. I mean, in my memory bank. Sorry, in the memory Mind Palace, Hitman Go, the Lara Croft Go. Yeah.
Yeah, I played the Hitman one quite a bit. It's fun. But yeah, there's 4 main entries, I guess. I never did play Invisible War, actually. There's a few franchises where I kind of played the first entry and I fell off it, which is interesting. I did play Human Revolution, and that game is also, I like it. It's not as good as the original, though, for me. Like, Human Revolution is a game I will probably never play again, but the original Deus Ex I played a dozen times.
Cool. All right, well, maybe I'm going to have to stream it, and you can talk me through it, because I'm going to need help.
It's such an experience, though. It's good.
Yeah. All right, so... Okay, so I agree with 5. 4, I'm kind of on the fence, but I want to give it a shot, so let's go on to number 3. What do we got here?
Number 3 is a classic on the Super Nintendo. Nobody can hate this game. I don't care anywhere. No, there's no Warframe on SNES. I mean, there's Robotrek, but it's not really the same thing. No, this is not my first Zelda game, but definitely the one that probably sticks in my head a lot, especially lately, and it's Link to the Past. And I'm always torn on this because I really love Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. And this is where the mood hits you. This very easily could be Link to the Past or Link's Awakening, depending on what time of the year it is and what I played recently.
Right. Christmas time, you're definitely more of a Link's Awakening kind of guy.
Well, I do like Link's Awakening. But no, Link to the Past is the reason I picked it right now. It's more challenging than Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening only has one section that I find hard. Otherwise, Link to the Past is hard in various spots. But everybody's played this game. Who doesn't love Link's Awakening? 2 worlds, light and dark. There's how many bosses in this game? 12? Like a lot of bosses.
Yeah, I was about to say, the 2 worlds thing alone right there, because I thought I had the game beaten when I was about to fight Aghanim for the first time, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to fight Ganon after this. No, I was like, holy shit. Like, it's just like unlocking this whole other game entirely, and then you end up going back and forth. So,
and you spend more time in the dark world than the light world too. Like, there's a good chunk of game in the light world, and then there's only the 3 palaces, and then you're in dark world, and there's like 7 or something. It's nuts.
7 or 8, yeah.
And just so many items and different abilities. And I used to love Legend of Zelda on Nintendo. Right, that's one of my first games on the Nintendo.
The OG, not Zelda 2?
And I do like Zelda 2. I'm not one of those assholes that hates it. But I like the original Zelda more than Zelda 2. And that's okay. But the original Zelda was...
We're allowed to disagree, so, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I like Zelda 2 better. So
that's the idea. But the original was always obtuse. Like, you get lost and just not know where to go. Link's Awakening, I always feel like I knew where to go. Even if it got tricky in spots, I knew where to go and progress.
One thing that I've realized is that it has this connection to Super Metroid, and they have that randomizer where you switch between games.
Yes.
And I was like, why the hell would that happen? Like, these are 2 completely different. Like, it just used to make me salty to think about. And then I realized how much similar they are, and in that same kind of progression, where you have to get this to go here, or you have to get that to go there. And when I finally played the randomizer for Link to the Past, which I still haven't beaten one yet, it was really apparent how well this game was made, because I'm not a huge Zelda fan. The Zelda games for me, I'm not a big on. But this one, I really appreciate what it's done for video games in general, because they pushed so many boundaries, and it was basically an entry, one of the, what do you call it? Like a release entry almost.
Yeah, it was an early Super Nintendo title. It's definitely one of the first ones I played.
Yeah, and so just for the fact that they pushed the hardware as much as they did in that game, it's just so many little details. They're really cool.
And like you mentioned, the randomizer, and that's one of the points I have for why this kind of beats out Link's Awakening. Although there is ROM hacks for Link's Awakening, I haven't played many of them. But Link to the Past has quite a thriving ROM hacking community. And when that randomizer came out in 2016, I think I first played it in 2017, I want to say. And that just brings a fresh coat of paint to a game I never thought possible. It really is amazing. Suddenly it goes to being this classic SNES game I love, to now it feels like a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku or something, where you have to find the items, they're in a random order, but still somehow the game has been coded in a way you can still beat it, like a puzzle, right? You may have to go between XYZ and Dark World back and forth a few times. Or I love how it'll say, here's Zelda. We're not going to give you a sword. Here's a hammer. Good luck. Right? It's hilarious. And as hard as it is, it's fun.
Oh, that happened to you too? Yeah, it is really cool how they've done that. It's just kind of mind-blowing to me because it's like, I know they had to change stuff for the randomizer, obviously, to make it work, but the fact that it's at its core would work like that, it just shows how well it was thought out.
Well, one of my most favorite memories of this game entirely comes because of the randomizer. It's King Zora, which you have to, normally in the classic game, you have to go to him, give him a couple hundred rupees, and you get the flippers, right? It's a progression thing. There were so many times in randomizer runs where that son of a bitch, I give him 200 rupees, and what does he give me? A single arrow.
20 back.
Yeah, or 5 rupees back. It's like, you asshole. And that's like, you have to find what you want somewhere else. And it happens all the time, and it makes me salty, but it's funny as hell, and that's power of randomizer.
I called those Chard Monk chests because when I was watching, before I played it myself, and every time I saw Chard open a chest, that's what he got was rupees. Too. He's just cursing. He's like, "Oh yeah, how many rupees are going to get this time?" And now, so yeah, that's what I think. So, Chard, you've not ruined that game for me, but you've got that reference. You are a meme in my mind now.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and the neat thing is that they've been working on that randomizer for years now. Like, it's very mature compared to what it used to be like. Like, the things like you used to get the +5 arrows or +5 bombs. That's been taken out, I think, at this point. So they've made it more approachable, so it's always still fun to get into, but it's deep. If you really dive down that rabbit hole, Zelda randomizer is very deep, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I can get behind that, I gotta say, because I'm not a huge Zelda horror fan. I love saying it like that because it gets under some people's skin.
Just triggering some people right now. So,
just triggered.
Somebody's got to hand over the email right now, just typing an angry tweet or something.
Yeah, why does he keep calling it Zeldor? But no, it's just, I'm not a huge fan of it in general, in the series in general. But this is one that I will go back and play, and every couple of years I want to play it, and it just feels fresh. It's just enjoyable, and I think it's aged better than, I want to say, 90% of the games I've played as a kid. So,
I mean, I think we mentioned before about how 2D sprite work might have aged better for us, at least for our group, compared to 3D. And I think that's never been more true for me than this versus, say, Ocarina of Time. I like Zelda on the N64, but Link to the Past to me just looks better. I go to it more than anything else.
I don't know, the back humping zombies in Ocarina of Time still freak me out, though, I'm not gonna lie. Because they're just sketchy enough, and they're just low res enough that my imagination starts going, and then they start trying to eat you. And okay, let's go on to number 2, please. Solid number 2.
Number 2, we're going back to PC because, again, surprisingly, my list is a lot of PC. And no, it's not Warframe, you son of a bitch. No. I don't know if it's not retro. I'm just looking at the age of this one. For 2013. BioShock Infinite is my number 2. I think you played this one, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So there's a few reasons why I like this one. A lot of this comes down to that time in my life when I got a chance to play it was when my youngest daughter was born. So I think I've told this before. I keep telling this story as a lesson for any new father out there who thinks, like I did at the time, that they mastered parenting. It's 3 a.m. and it's your turn to look after the baby. Wife's asleep. I gotta feed the baby. I want to play games. I haven't played a game in days, and I'm starting to go nuts. So I have this new game, BioShock Infinite, but it's a first-person shooter, hand on keyboard and mouse, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized if I rebind my controls on my mouse, I could move forward and left and right because I had one of those fancy Razer mice at the time. So here I am holding a baby in one hand. I just fed her. She's asleep, and I'm like, look at me, man. I'm one fucking dry motherfucker. Look how cool I am. I'm playing a first-person shooter, one-handed, no problem. I got a daughter in one arm. I'm a master parent and gamer. And then my daughter spewed all over the keyboard. My youngest is a puker, and that's when I really learned how much that night is dude, monitor, keyboard, desk, just pasted. and white vomit. And it was just the trend for the next 6 months till we figured it out. But she was a massive puker. And thankfully, it was a Razer keyboard, Black Widow. Razer, I'll take sponsorships, please. Because that thing came clean, no problem.
Isn't that one of the ones with like the drain holes in it?
No, but I was able to take the keys off and clean it out. It took me a solid hour, though, man. Try puke is not fun to clean, let me tell you.
Look, I don't care. That's an hour or not. The fact that it's working again,
yeah.
Go Razer.
And that's the thing. I had that thing for years. So, I mean, that was my, again, first daughter. There's another reason it fits in that as well, is without spoiling the game. Because this game is a game you should play without spoilers.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a plot in the game where at a point, there's a flashback sequence where a baby is ripped from your arms. I just had a kid. Baby in my arms. In the game, she's being torn from your arms. I shed a tear. I don't care. Who knows? That game hit me in the emotional feels. And it's a feeling that if I played it now, I don't think I would be as attached to it. So I almost don't want to play this game ever again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like when you look back, it's perfect. You know? And there's just enough of a haze that you don't think of all the little things that pissed you off in the middle of it. So, yeah, I can totally get that. That's... I can't get the kid thing. I definitely can't say I was playing a game one-handed with a child in my arm. That's pretty impressive. But at the same time, I also didn't have to clean puke out of my keyboard. So
that's a bonus.
Yeah. It's okay. You're still coming out on top on this one, so it's okay.
But it really is a good game for other reasons too. Like the story is really well done. Some sequences are a bit too long for me. Like I'm not great at first-person shooters by any stretch, but the plot was really good in this game. The when you first enter, what's the city even called? I forget now.
Columbia.
Okay, so when you first enter Columbia and like. You see the city around you, the lights fades from your eyes, and it's just this beautiful floating freaking city. And it's just amazing, jaw-dropping. You hear barbershop quartet singing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. All the hidden music references is hilarious.
Yeah, there's a Beach Boys tune in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like hidden tracks in there. And there's a few that are played backwards, I think, as well, I was reading.
Yeah, like, and that's another thing. Like, we can get into that, but there's so many little nuances to that game, not just the story wise, but all these little references and things that they make you go back and you don't get it all in the first playthrough.
Yeah.
So
it's a game. You're right. Like you play it through once, and then when you get to the end of it, you kind of pick up on the hints dropped earlier, and you do want to play it again. I think I played it a couple times when it first came out.
Yeah, I did too. I immediately started over. I was like, oh, cool.
It's a solid game with just an amazing story, and it is a game that will stick with you. The gameplay, though, is one where I don't know if it holds up, and I'm kind of leery to go back to it. But the atmosphere, like when I got the Oculus Rift, the first thing I did was look up how can I play BioShock Infinite in VR. I don't think you could at the time. I got myself sick because it wasn't meant for it, but I wanted to just to look around that Columbia and see everything. It was amazing.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick. I gotta say, it's kind of like it has the Matrix effect, is what I call it, because the Matrix is like the first movie was kind of like the biggest mindfuck I had as like a young teen. You know, like I was like 14, 15, somewhere around there, and I was like, oh man. So when you get like the reveal and stuff, when things start coming together in the Matrix, you're like, oh, you know, it's the Inception moment, and that's what this one has, because you play through the game and they give it to you. It's all there in front of you, but then when you finish the game, it's like, oh, so it's kind of like watching The Matrix the second time, you know, and you know what's going on. All of a sudden, these little references along the way are like, whoa, cool, you know?
Yeah, once it all like clicks together, you're just like a lot of appreciation for the story writers for sure in this game.
Yeah.
So the one thing about this, though, I've mentioned I like BioShock Infinite a lot, and I've gotten some flack from a few people when they realize I've not played the first two games ever.
I would say, like, no, that's not a big deal for me. That's not a deal breaker. I think they're cool. There's a reference near the end, I think it was, without spoiling anything, that kind of ties it in somehow, but it's very minuscule. Like, it's not something that you need to play the original. The second one's like, look at the second one as like an extended DLC. It's not that bad. It's fun. It's just not that great.
Like an expansion pack.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's just, no, but the first one's amazing. Infinite, and it was really hard for me to decide which one I like better. And I think Infinite edges out by not much.
Well, at least I'm not alone on this one. That's good because people really love the original Bioshock a lot.
If you haven't played it, I want you to look. I'll play Deus Ex if you play Bioshock.
I do own it. I have to sit down and play it. Bioshock Infinite raises that bar, and just I don't think the first game is going to have the same level of plot. At least I don't think so. If I'm wrong, I'll love it.
I think the plot is what makes it in the original. So I mean, it's kind of like polished in Infinite, but because this, you're in the sky. In the first one, you're in Rapture, you're in underwater.
Right.
So it's kind of more forgiving in that sense because it's just like the combat doesn't go the same high octane. You're not as flying around on rails and stuff as you are in Infinite. So it's a different experience, but I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. It's definitely on the list of games I need to go back and play for sure because I really do love Bioshock Infinite.
All right, so that we have a solid number 2.
I see what you did there. So number 1.
So what is number 1?
Number 1.
Try number 1.
Starts with a W.
World of Warcraft.
No. What? No. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? World of Warcraft.
WWF WrestleMania.
Actually, that over World of Warcraft. I actually deleted my Blizzard account. I forget why. I was pissed off at them for some reason. I'm like, you know what? Delete. Sir, I'm upset with you. Angry tweet will not suffice. I cancel my Warcraft account entirely. So yeah, I got rid of that game.
Nice.
No, it's not Warcraft. It's not Warframe, but it's another W. It's The Witcher 3, which I have some feelings about now because I just played a good chunk of Cyberpunk 2077, which is the follow-up game from that company.
You were about to say, like, you just had a kid and you're playing Bioshock Infinite, and I was like, okay, cool. And I'm like, if you just had, like, sex with what's-her-name or the other what's-her-name or the other what's-her-name, then goddamn, man, how can I argue with this?
Well, it is funny because that's what Witcher 3 comes back on, right? The meme is, Yennefer or Triss. I'm like, all right, okay, guys. There's a game here, though. It's a good game.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like God of War, where it's like, yeah, the game is fun, but everybody knows that scene where you, like, bang a bunch of, like, women or something all at once.
Yeah, all the TNA. And, like, Witcher 3, I mean, yes, adult game by far. I mean, the game before it, Witcher 2, also had a lot of that. And even Witcher 1, although not as graphic, you collected cards when you slept with the different, human-like monsters. It was a weird thing, man. But that's not why I like these games. Witcher 3, it's for the lore and how it just immerses you in this story. It's fantasy, right? There's elves and dwarves and dragons, but it's not your Lord of the Rings type of stuff. It's not World of Warcraft type elves, right? Witcher has a very Polish influence to its storytelling and its lore, and it's all based on, folk tales, fairy tales, Hansel and Gretel type of stuff.
Right. The difference between, like, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's not is not American. I'm guessing.
Pretty sure British, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So, like, still very English.
Yes.
But yeah, I can see that because there's that Scandinavian kind of thing to The Witcher, which plays it so much differently. Like you said, none of the elves and stuff like that. I've only watched people playing it, and I've played a little bit of it just to see if I was into it. I wasn't. But I can see why people love this game, and it's not just because it's a beautiful game, but it seems like it has a lot of details done right.
And like they really put you in the role of the monster slayer, right? When you play as Geralt, I wish you could make your own character, but Geralt's really great. But you have the two swords, the steel sword for men, the silver sword for monsters, or just the idea of like that being the lore is very unique. You're like a swordsman, right? You're not wearing plate mail, right? You're not a wizard. You're not casting spells, but you're kind of a mix of all of them, right? You have bombs and traps, alchemy, potions. You have two swords, so you are a fighter, right? But you're nimble and quick. You wear leather armor like a thief, right? And you do have a little bit of magic, various signs like Jedi-like powers. And you have to use all of it, right? If you play on easy, you don't. But if you play on normal or harder, the game forces you to use every tool at your disposal. It's a game where A bunch of side quests are hunting monsters, right? If you want to hunt a cockatrice or something, you find yourself reading the bestiary to find out what they're weak against, because you need that information to beat the encounter.
Nice.
There's no game I played that does this, where it forces you to research a little bit before you kill a monster. And it's not everywhere in the game, but there's a lot of side quests that are very deep with that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay.
So I love the combat. The story is, the original game is really good, but the plot kind of falls into the trope of save the universe, which is okay. It's not my favorite part of the game, but it's good. Where the story really catches though is the DLCs. And like I'm not a fan of DLC. I don't like paying for it. But The Witcher 3, if there's ever a case for solid DLC, it's this game. They don't feel like DLC, they feel like expansion packs.
Okay. That sounds actually pretty enticing. I've heard good things, but not put into that way, so I like that.
Well, like the first one, Heart of Stone, it expands a couple things, but in terms of the plot, you literally are working with somebody who's the devil. It's like an ancient primordial evil. And he basically has you collecting a debt from somebody that he's given more immortality to. And you have to kind of do some wishes for this guy. And at first you meet this guy you're doing these wishes for, and he's just a dick. He's an asshole. He sets you up, he almost kills you. You hate this guy. But by the time you get to the end of the DLC and you realize why he has a heart of stone, why he's so cold, why he's a dick, you feel really bad for him. And when it wraps up, you're like, huh. Like, the plot is really well done, really well written. And it's not save the universe. You're saving the soul of a man. So it kind of brings it back down. And it's at a level that really fits the Witcher lore better, I think. Like, having watched the TV show recently, and I've read some of the books, it feels more like a Witcher tale, right? More about the monster, about the man, not about saving the universe. So it's really well done. The last DLC, Blood and Wine, the thing with Witcher 3 is it's a very dark game, right? Gritty, swamps, muck, everybody's just terrible human beings you encounter. People spit at you in the game. It's very dark. And then you go to the Toussaint, which is the area where Blood and Wine takes place, and it's like France, right? Bright and cheerful meadows, bright colors, knights in armor with feathers.
Bread and cheese everywhere.
No, seriously, there's vineyards. You actually get one. It's hilarious. So it's very bright and cheerful. But underneath it, though, is a story about vampires. Some good, some bad. And again, it comes down to, it's a very Witcher story, a local story, where the bad guy you think is not the bad guy you think he is, right? It's all shades of gray in the Witcher series. And it's Blood and Wine. If you play this game and you have not played the DLC, you need to. Because Blood and Wine takes every stray plot thread that you may even think of for Geralt and just knots it and ties it. There's no loose ends at the end of Witcher 3. It's at the point where I heard that there's another Witcher game coming out in the next who knows when. They can't have Geralt in it. If they do, it's going to ruin it. It's like Matrix 3. They should have stopped. Don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because his story is done. And they've done such a good job of tying it down. I don't want to see Geralt in anything else ever again. They need a new character, a new story.
Sometimes you need that because it's like sequels don't make it better, you know?
Yeah.
I love Ninja Turtles 2, but that's a whole different experience than Ninja Turtles 1.
Yeah, like I don't need any more, right? Like Avengers movies, yeah. I'm done. No more Endgame. Yeah. I don't need it.
Yeah, no post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I haven't played it. I haven't given it an honest shot. I don't know which one I had, 2 or 3 I got for free on Xbox Live when I had my 360. So it's probably the second one. It's one of those games where I want to read the books, and everyone's like, play the games first. I'm like, why? Because it's a different experience. I was like, well, yeah, I know, but I just like reading the books first and then comparing. Like, I read Dracula, and then I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula, with Keanu. Maybe I should play the game first. Okay.
Yeah, well, Witcher 3 does have characters that are mentioned in the books, but the story completely stands alone. Your character has amnesia, or had amnesia in Witcher 2, so kind of that's your good entry point to the series. So you don't need to have read the books. I read them after I beat the game. After playing the game, I'm like, I need more. And then now the TV show's on Netflix. I love it. But they're different stories. They do stand apart. And the game is just amazing to play. Like, reading the books will give you a little history of the world, but totally not necessary to play the game.
Okay.
Witcher 2 is also really good. It has the same good storytelling, but it's not open world. It's more linear, and it's not quite as polished as Witcher 3, especially the combat. The combat's it's hard to get into. Witcher 3, you can kind of futz your way through it, even if you're not really good at it. Witcher 2 demands you be good at the combat, and it's hard to get back into.
How much of a difference was there between the games and time for release anyway?
Witcher 2 was 2011, I want to say. No, it might have been earlier than that.
My mind pal is telling me Witcher 3 is 2015.
Okay.
So, I mean, 4 years, that's a pretty sizable jump for them to figure things out more too.
Yeah, the main thing with them I remember is I used to be a big fan of Neverwinter Nights, which was made by BioWare. And the reason that ties in, I love Neverwinter Nights. Witcher 1 used the same engine. They leased it from BioWare, but they altered it. They drastically changed it. There was no tiles in Witcher 1. And totally different gameplay. Like, it's a clicky-based mouse game, whereas 2 kind of takes it to a classic RPG, and then 3 is this open world thing. So all 3 Witcher games stand apart, and they're very different gameplay-wise. But they're all good. 3 is just amazing. And I feel differently about this now because, I've been waiting for Cyberpunk, which is CD Projekt Red's next game, for years now. And having played it, it's kind of like, But I'm just waiting to see if Cyberpunk has DLC at the same level as Witcher 3's Blood and Wine. Something tells me it's not going to happen, though.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of curious because I won't be playing Cyberpunk, not for any reason other than I'm a cheap ass and I want to wait until it's all fixed. So
yeah,
it'll probably be 3-4 years before I actually get around to doing it. But I think, I don't know, the way things have been going now, I'm kind of wondering if it's gonna go well, or if it's just gonna go to I'll go to pot. So because I don't know, Witcher 3, it seems like they've put a lot of effort and a lot of time and care into, and Cyberpunk, not saying they haven't put the time and effort in, but it's rushed and didn't get that polished from the start. So I'm just curious how it'll turn out.
Well, I think with Witcher as well, Witcher 3 rather, it was not the most polished game when it first came out. There were bugs, not quite, what Wolf had in Cyberpunk of embedding himself in the car, but it had bugs, and it was the post-released updates was really well done. The company does put extended amounts of effort into updating the game after release, and Cyberpunk will be the same from what I've seen. But yeah, the Witcher 3's story and gameplay right from the gate was really good. I don't know. It's a game that everybody needs to play. I don't understand why. Well, it is popular. I know a lot of people have played it. But I like this more than Skyrim, I think. I'd rather play a Witcher game than Elder Scrolls any day of the week.
Oh, wow. Okay. I've only played Oblivion and Skyrim, so maybe I should try 2 and 3 for The Witcher.
Definitely 3. 2 is good too. All right. Well, that's my top 5. If you disagree, suck it. It's my 5, and it changes all the time.
I'm going to ask you again in 3 weeks' time and see if I get the same answer.
Well, I was very close to putting Hades and The Messenger on here, but I restrained myself. I'm sticking to this list.
Dude, I'm still pissed off at The Messenger, okay? I'm stuck on a boss, and I keep on quitting every time I boot it up.
What boss are you stuck on?
I don't know. He's like a devil-looking dude, and I gotta...
yeah. Bazamel, or what I think his name is. He's an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's much like The Witcher. The Messenger forces you to learn the mechanics and forces you to get good, and that boss is a tough one. All right.
Cool.
Well,
all right,
Palsh, thanks very much. Maybe tell people where they can find you. I noticed you've been streaming lately.
I stream? Shit. Okay. Well, you can try to find me sometimes on twitch.tv/Palsh109. That's PALSH 109. And where can we find more of the sickest of Jakes?
Well, until my kids go to bed on time and stay there, you can find me on Twitter. That's pretty much where it's going to be. And of course, I'm Press Me to Cancel. And it's pressmettocancel.com, or you can find our audio version of our podcast on Stitcher, Google, Apple, Podchaser. Just do Google search. It's everywhere. And of course, if you like what you're listening to and you want to support our podcast, because hosting ain't free, and we appreciate it, you can find us on, what are we on now? Patreon?
We are on Patreon. As I like to call it, Patreon.
Patreon. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we have a proper Patreon now, and we're going to be releasing one episode to Patreon a month, and we're going to be doing some movies instead of games, just to spread it out and make it a little bit more fun. And because we all like watching movies, so we just want to shoot the shit about more pop culture stuff because we like shooting the shit with each other. At least I love shitting on your shooting shit.
That's pretty much the whole idea. I need a second in command of being the asshole on the podcast. Can't just be me. I can't be the one who hates everything. And I do like movies. And if you can't throw money our way, that's cool too. You can just like, retweet, subscribe to the podcast. All that helps support the show, and we greatly appreciate it.
If you share it with one friend and one friend enjoys the show, it's a success. So thank you if you do that. And otherwise, just keep listening and keep enjoying it. You can also join our podcast Discord. And if you want to join that, the quick link for that is bit.ly/pressb to cancel. So if you use Discord, hopefully join in on the conversation. Do we have anything else to plug besides social media that we probably don't pay attention to enough because it's so overwhelming?
Well, I've been trying to do the Instagram thing. It's tough. I can't keep up with this Instagram stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and also we have Ko-fi. If you want, and you don't want to subscribe every month, but you want to throw a few dollars our way, even just to buy a coffee for us, check it out, ko-fi/pressb to cancel. Yeah, there's another way to support us. But of course, the main thing is listening in and sharing with your friends. So thank you, everybody.
Everybody have a great week.
Special thanks for music. Go to Arthur the Last Ancient on Spotify or The Last Ancient on Bandcamp. For more episodes, please visit our website at pressbtocancel.com. As well, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe at Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere else you'd like to listen to your favorite shows. As always, thank you. This has been
Press B to cancel.
Press B to